Yes, yeah. With your logo.
Is this how celebrities roll? Where's my thing M&M's at? Just green ones too.
Hey guys, y'all can take pictures but no videos, please.
Hey.
Right next to you.
All right, gentlemen, I know I told you I've read all your bios in the past couple of days, but with all the logos, I get confused on who's who because you got so much dancing on your shirts there. Do us all a favor, so everybody in the room, in case we're not familiar with you, introduce yourself just by your name. You don't have to give us your complete bio. We'll start here.
Scott Canterbury.
Jeff Sprague.
Wesley Strader.
Andrew Upshaw.
Good to have you here. Thank you so much. I know Christopher has been talking to several of you guys on the air about the big event on our news talk station 560 WBOC. I work on 97.5 WCOS, so we got a lot of fishermen, country lovers out there. So a lot of people that listen to us in the morning are interested in seeing what you guys are going to be able to do this weekend, and they really want some secrets. I don't know how much you're willing to divulge of that, but we'll get into that in just a few minutes. By the way, I did bring my very first ever fishing lure I bought. I think I was about 9 when I bought this.
You better be careful. You'll get a piercing with that thing right there.
I thought it was
going to wear it all day.
Oh, that
On the
was
way
the
to
South
work,
Carolina
it stabbed me, so I almost ran off the road trying to get my fishing lure. I hooked myself, which was my biggest catch ever on this lure, in case you're wondering. Anyway, I know Christopher has some serious questions. I got just some stupid redneck fishing questions.
Well, I'm the guy for the answer for that.
And then we want to let our guests ask some questions too, but let's start with some general questions for all of you, and let's start with what you think of Lake Murray. We know the Forestwood Cup has been here before. So give us your thoughts about what Lake Murray will be like.
Can we wait and let Scott answer that one first? And then we're going to listen.
Scott.
We'll answer off what he says.
Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, I like Lake Murray. You know, I mean, I had a second place finish here in the Cup, about 1 ounce. It really cost me, but you know, it's a tough fishery. Everywhere in the South just about is tough in August, and this is a tough fishery, but it's very diverse. You can fish your strengths here. You can go down and fish for the, you know, the herring lakes, the herring fish, which is the open water fish on the lower end. You can fish grass in the midsection, or you can go up the river and fish dirty water. So I like it. You know, it's going to be tough. The weights aren't never really extremely high, but it's August, and it's a good lake to have a tournament on.
It's August, but we've seen rain in the forecast, afternoon storms the next couple of days. How will that affect y'all's strategy?
Well, I wished it would rain like 5 to 6 inches a day, because that would help me out more than anybody here probably. But you know, it's a herring lake, and herring lakes are notoriously tough, you know, in the summertime, because it's just, those herring go deep. They're so hard to predict where they're going to be and where the bass are going to be schooling them at. So it's just a rain would be a welcome in my book.
How does rain change your strategy?
I would like to see the lake come up at least 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 inches, or you know, maybe flood the grass real good. That's what they said about that guy building that big boat a long time ago too.
That's true.
But yeah, I'd like to see it come up a little bit. And, you know, instead of falling, it's been steadily falling for about the last week or so.
Yeah.
But I'd like to see it stabilize and maybe come up a little bit.
All right, now Scott mentioned grass. Jeff, you're supposed to be the big grass fisherman. What does that mean exactly, and how do you get to become an expert in grass fishing?
You know, I'm not real sure where that came from, to be honest with you guys.
It's back in your college days.
Back in my college days. We're not talking about that. It's children present. No, I'm just kidding. But all kidding aside, in Texas we fish a lot of grass. Grew up fishing grass. I grew up at Lake Fork. We had grass out to 20 feet, you know, 25 feet of water. So it's hydrilla basically. This lake does not have hydrilla in it. Just so everyone knows that. I mean, I take that back. I apologize. It does, but not what I'm used to. So, you know, per se. I did find some hydrilla. I fished it, and you know, here and there, it could play for someone sometime. But so basically, that's where the grass came into play. That I was a great grass fisherman, and I do enjoy fishing grass. And usually, when we go to a grass fishery, I tend to do pretty well. I like this lake, even though it's August. I think. You know, the last couple, you know, the places that we've been, the fishing, if you can get a bite, it's a shorty, it's a small fish. Here, if you can, a lot of times, if you can get a fish to eat, you know, they've got the quality here. So I know this lake has the potential to produce some big bags. I think we'll see a few of those bags brought to the scales during the tournament. You know, it'll just be a guy getting around the right fish at the right time, timing them right, and catching some quality fish. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we can really see who's catching fish and who ain't.
No, listen, these guys, they've been doing it a lot longer than I have. So you know, they know how to sandbag, if you will. That's the biggest thing about this sport is your competitors. It's not like being on a football field where you walk up to a guy and you're like, Yeah, if he hits me, it's gonna hurt. These guys, they can walk in the door and be like, man, it's so tough out there, I can't get a bite. And then next thing you know, 26 pounds.
That's what you said when I hit you last time.
So no, that's the way we play our sport. It's a lot of mind games, and they've just about mastered it.
You know, for a number of years, I was a great grass fisherman too, because my cast was so bad I missed the pond. But
Never heard that.
I've been reading on the internet. I can't wait to get the answer to this because I cannot find this answer conclusively on any Google search. So can any of you guys, I'll tell you what, the most educated, who's the most educated of the four of you? Okay, here we go. All right. So tell me, sir, what is the difference between an angler and a fisherman?
Wow. You're gonna have to. Can
I knew-
you
yeah,
bring
that
that
was a
down
good
down a notch?
question for
Like,
you.
you have one of those Big Chief pencils that he needs that written on a Big Chief.
And a
with big-
crayon,
yeah,
red
yes, please.
crayon. Here, hold on. I don't know my notes. Crayon.
Well, congratulations, because nobody on Google knows, so I guess the debate continues, the difference between anglers and fishermen. But it goes back to like 500 BC, something about the angle refers to the hook. I always thought, well, never mind what we thought, but nonetheless, the controversy continues. So let me ask you another question about fishing. I know my son, and I love to go fishing, my youngest son. So just this past week, we're using the same lure. I get up earlier than he does. I want to go get a couple in the bag before he even gets out of bed. I'm out there for an hour and a half, nothing. He calls, where are you? I'm down here, come on down. Uses the same lure, 2 casts, pulls in a 17-inch flounder. Now, I understand the terminology, chick magnet, but are some people just fish magnets?
It's how you were holding your mouth.
Is that what it was?
Yes, sir. That's an age-old answer.
Yeah, that's the
You got to
simplest-
practice that at
That's
home.
the simplest thing, you know, you just change the position of your mouth.
It's
and you would
true.
have caught fish.
You can look that up. Google
Yeah,
it.
it's Googleable.
Well, and that brings up a good question though, because a lot of people think, all right, I'm the amateur, I go out on the weekends, and it's just fun for me. What's the biggest change you make when you go from amateur to pro? What's the biggest thing you have to learn?
It's probably mindset more than it is anything. It's your ability to believe in yourself and being able to focus. A lot of these guys, like that are really great, their mind just processes information. It's like a Mac versus a notebook. Their mind just processes information, and we all, each one of us, have a certain technique that we're really, really good at, and that's one of the key things. You have to have a go-to technique that you could, at any time, like whether you're you might be struggling throughout the day, and well, I'm gonna pick this up, and I know I'm gonna go catch one, because that's your confidence lure, your confidence bait, whatever it is, and it's just a different mindset. It's still fun. Like, even fishing, I mean, I've been in it for 20 years now. It's still fun every day, but it becomes a job. But it's how you focus and apply yourself at what you do. It's just like great baseball players, great football players, anybody that's an athlete. It's the amount of time that you use to prepare and study and to make yourself better as an angler or a fisherman. And, that's the difference.
I'd love to hear how each 4 of you got your start.
You know, I've been fishing since I was 3 or 4 years old. I fished every weekend, I think, with my dad or my uncle. Just grew up fishing, and when I came about 12, I guess we started fishing a few little tournaments with my dad and stuff, and I really, really liked it. When I got in high school and had buddies that could drive, we got to fishing tournaments, 3 or 4 tournaments a week. We'd fish night tournaments all during the week, and I just loved the competition. I played all the sports in high school, everything that we offered, and I love that competition. And when you get that in you, and then you get out of school and you got to have something to fill that up. So, it's just the drive, and then, I love the outdoors and love the fishing. It's my passion, always has been. And, he says it's a job, and it is a job, but I still love it. Every time I get on the water, I love it, and you try to learn something every day. So it's just the passion and the drive for the sport that I love, and worked my way up through the ranks. I started out at the bottom, qualified to move up a division, and qualified started out at the BFLs, which is the grassroots, and moved up to the Costas, the Everstarts, and all that, and that's like the AAA level, and then went, for pro, and it's been I've been really blessed. I've been fortunate in several tournaments and had a good career so far. Hopefully can keep it going. I don't want it to ever see it end.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's very similar to the way I was. I remember when I was these guys' age here, grabbing a Coke and a pack of crackers, jumping barbed wire fences and pond fishing, you know, as a kid. And then, you know, all those days of school that I skipped, don't ever do. They didn't have high school fishing when I was in school, and they didn't when any of us were there. So now that's an opportunity for like these kids to stay in school and look forward to fishing versus where, you know, a guy like me maybe had to miss a day or two to capitalize on those springtime spawns. But you know, and then obviously I joined the military just out of high school, and I did my time, and I actually got out of the military to go fishing. It's kind of a weird story, but so I did that and immediately started fishing with FLW. I started just like Scott did at the grassroots level, but I started with the Costa Series. You know, immediately qualified to go to the next series, and then decided I was going to go fish the tour as a non-boater, which we have it with FLW, which is it's a huge deal for guys who want to get out and learn. So basically, it's
wait a minute. Explain what you mean by non-boater.
Okay, so FLW has a pro angler, and then we have a non-boater, which is a guy who shows up, and basically they're a marshal for us, in for lack of better terms, but they're allowed to fish out of the back of our boats at not this event, but other events that we perform throughout the year. So it's a great opportunity for those guys to compete for a lot of money as well. So basically, FLW offers that spot in the back of our boat to another non-competitor that doesn't compete against us as the professional, but they compete against one another. I think that prize is $25,000 out of the back of our boat at each event. So that's a pretty big payday for a guy to go out and fish for 2 days for $25,000. So it's a great opportunity if someone's looking to do that, to get in touch with FLW. You know, it's a great deal. But so that's where I started from, was in the back of the boat. I did that for a couple of years. I had really great success, and then that kind of propelled me to say, hey, you need to make that step and go to the front, and then, you know, step into my professional career, in which I did 4 years ago. And ever since then, you know, I just followed a life journey, if you will, it seems like. And, you know, my teachers and college professors and military friends are all like, how do you do that? You know, and I can't explain it. You really can't, except for hard work. I mean, it's a lot of sacrifice, a lot of hard work. There's a lot of people around you to help you get to where you're going. You know, I know Scott has a great family and he has a great support group. I know Wesley's wife travels with him, you know, and Andrew the same way, you know. So a lot of people, and a lot of companies, and a lot of people believe in you and help you get where you're going. It's not just you. So that's a huge deal.
You know, me, that's just similar to these guys. That's all I wanted to do was fish when I was a kid. I just wanted to fish or be outside doing something, outdoors, hunting, fishing. And my grandfather, my father's probably the one that instilled that in me. But I've been fishing, as long as I can remember, and that's all I wanted to do, nothing else. I didn't want to do anything else. In school, when they gave the questionnaire, what would you like to do when you graduate high school? So I had to fill in the blank, professional fisherman. And all my teachers said, you can't do that, that's impossible. I said, well, I'm going to do it anyway. So, you know, I've done everything. You know, everybody asks, you know, they're like, well, how do you get there? Well, I'm going to be truthful with you. It ain't easy. It's hard. I beat nails. I work for TVA. I climbed high-line poles. I done everything that I had to do to get to where I'm at. It's not easy. There's nothing in life easy that you want to accomplish. You got to set your goals to it and apply yourself. And that's how you achieve your goals. You know, I didn't like beating nails. I didn't like climbing 500 feet in the air on a high-line pole. I didn't like that, but I done it because this is what I wanted to do. And one thing that really pushed me to be where I'm at today is, I'll never forget, when I was working for the Tennessee Valley Authority, I about got burned up. I was on a high-line pole, and I had a near fatal accident. These accidents you don't recover from. It's just, you know, you're here, you're gone tomorrow. And it scared me bad, and I thought, you know, the rest of my life, what am I doing? Why am I out here? This is not what I want to do. I'm not happy. And I went home and talked to my dad. Dad said, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, Dad, I want to fish for a living. That's what I want to do. And, you know, I'd been tinkering in it a little bit here and there, and, you know, traveled like the Jerry Ryans and other circuits. You know, I hadn't really started at the FLW yet. And he said, well, son, I think he was probably maybe 40 at the time or something like that. And he said, I'm going to tell you something. He said, life's too short to be unhappy. And he said, if that's what you want to do, he said, you need to focus all your energy and your efforts into doing that. And then in that way, you're not 20 years down the road like me saying, you know, I think I could have done that. So I went in the next day, and I mean, I had a good paying job, like, I mean, as good as you probably can get in the valley. And I walked in the next day and said, how many days notice I gotta give for my resignation? They said, well, you can leave right now. And I said, I'm gone. And I went to beating nails, and 20 years later, here I am doing what I love. And there's one thing I asked the good Lord. I said, you know, I don't want to be rich. I don't want to be famous. I just want to be able to do what I like to do for a living and enjoy life. And He's blessed me way beyond what I'd ever thought I could have been blessed. So,
Amen.
Probably more than you deserve.
yeah, way more than I deserve. You are in the short stool over there. Remember that?
Well, speaking of the short stool, my story is vastly more unique than theirs boring stories. Pretty much.
Can you scoot up to the microphone? Raise your school.
Here, is it better?
Next question.
No, my whole deal was I didn't actually start fishing until I was about 14. I didn't fish my whole life. I actually had fished a few times, but it really wasn't my passion. My passion was more sport related, baseball, football, every sport you can imagine. Yeah, I know. See, that's what I love, is everybody tells you too short.
Pee wee football.
I'm a firm believer.
I love that movie,
I'm a firm
Waterboy. It's a
believer
great
in,
movie.
I'm a firm believer in the fact that people tell you can't do something, and I'm going to do it and prove everybody wrong. I played college football. I played every sport. I lettered in every sport. I know these guys don't believe it, but I did play college football. I was a kickoff, punt returner, and a slot receiver.